Alright guys, so welcome to today's video. In today's video, I would like to continue with this ROBLOX Adventure skill tree system I have started working on several weeks ago, let's say, several months ago, I don't know. And I would like to continue with this one, so as you can see, this is all we've got currently, so I'm able to click on all of these. Then you'll have short display right here displaying the move's name and the amount of skill points and a short description. What we are going to do now is that we are going to make those things actually clickable. And yeah. So let's do that. Now. Wait, I have to actually take a look into this. Okay, click detector. There we go. Alright, look. So, it is now going to become interesting. So, wait. Okay, so I thought about a concept which lets us know whether the perspective is already on one certain object of these, because if the camera's perspective is on one certain skill block right here, and then you press for another time, then we are going to unlock the skill as far as you have enough skill points left. So, when how to do this is is actually by doing the following. So, current skill perspective. Let's pick skill 1. Now, after this click detector has been pressed, we want to change current skill perspective to whatever the name of this part is. So you have to imagine that we have this loop right here, which basically gets all of the click detectors inside of it. So V is the click detector, v.parent refers to either one of these. And we are basically setting this variable which stores the current perspective, so the current block of which perspective we have took over, by just putting the name inside of here. Now, we should add another check, so whether this skill first of all exists inside of this module, but also whether the skill, whether this current skill perspective is not equal with the v.parent name. So this requirement is actually very important, because this excludes the case that you are already looking at that block and trying to click on it to, put the view on the block again. So this actually is being excluded right here. We furthermore, first of all, want to check if this attack exists. Okay, so that's pretty normal. But apart from that, we also want to check whether the current perspective is already on that skills block, because if that is the case, then we want to spend skill points on the skill and we want to unlock that skill. So that's important right here. Now, in order to do this, we have to create a data store system which stores the amount of skill points you have, but also the skills you have unlocked so far. And this is now going to be a little bit more difficult, but yeah, at least I hope that we're able to do this. So I'm going to create a variable called ds, which is going to be our data store. Come on. So we are referring to the data store service, and then we are applying this get data store function, which gets us a data store as the name tells you. And what we want to do is that we want to give this data store a name. So ROBLOX Adventure skill tree test. That's going to be the name of our data store right here. Now we need 2 cases. Actually, we need 3 cases, but I'm gonna be explaining them soon. So I've already created many data stores on this channel, so just go ahead and check out those videos if you want to learn more about data stores from me. So I'm gonna use 3 cases right here, as I've told you. So first case is when a player joins, and when a player joins, we want to set up all of the values, means the skill points value and the folder which contains all of the skills which the player has, and then we want to load those we want to load that data. So load the skill points from the last session and the skills the player had from the last session, and that's basically all of the purpose of player edit. And this of course fires, so this event triggers when a player has been added into the game, and we are basically doing the process I was just describing. So creating all of these values and then loading them. So we are doing that for every single player which joins. Right here we have player removing, which is the opposite case of player edit. It means when a player leaves. And when a player leaves, we just want to save the data. Okay, we do that for every player which leaves. Now we have bind to close right here. Bind to close is basically when a service is near to shut down. And what we want to do is that we want to save the data as well. And this is only going to be when we are testing inside of Studio. So we actually only need these two in the actual game. And this is just there to, you know, keep things testable for us in Studio, because I have made the experience that player removing does not work really in Studio, but this does. So therefore, we are going to use this in Studio and this in the game, and I'm going to show you how this is going to work out later on. But let's start with this thing right here first of all. So okay, what we're gonna do now is that we want to create an int value which is going to store the skill points. Now wait. Before we do that, we want to create a folder inside of the script. So inside of the status script right here. We want to call this folder, no, we want to give the folder the same name as our player. So player name. Apart from that, we want to create the skill points int value I was about to create. And we want to put this int value inside of our folder, so F. Now make sure to call this int value skill points. And let's set the default value to 0, so you have 0 skill points by default. Now, apart from that, I would like to create one more folder inside of our already existing data folder. And this folder is going to contain all of the unlocked skills. So I'm going to call that folder unlocked skills. And this folder is going to be empty at the beginning, but we are going to fill this out later on. All right. So let me create another variable right here. Let's call this one the S2. And this one is going to have the same name, but just a 2 right here. And the second one, so the second data store, is going to save our unlocked skills, while the first one is going to save everything which is not our unlocked skills. So in this case, only the skill points. But if you happen to have a JoJo game, which also has values such as cash, stance, maybe melee, sword level, stamina level in general whatsoever. So if you have those kind of values, which are of course not unlocked skills, then they are going to be saved in the first data store, while every unlocked skill is going to be saved in a second one. So I could basically call this one unlocked skills, yeah, just to make things more clear for you. So let's move on with loading all of these things. Actually, working on the loading process doesn't make any sense, because you guys do not know how we are going to save. Because I've still not done it yet, and there is no point in creating or showing you how to create the load process when you do not know how things are going to be saved. Okay, so I do know it because I already have the idea in my mind, and I'm the one who's creating this, but of course you do not have the idea or any insights in my mind. Therefore, I'm gonna work on the save process first of all, and after that we are going to work on the loading process. So I'm going to set up this function called save data, which requires the player as an argument. First requirement is that this data folder exists. So if script find first child, player name, then we want to move on. Now, well, we want to set up two tables. And the first table is going to be responsible to save everything which belongs inside of the first data store. So everything which is not an unlocked skill. Second table, which is empty, is going to hold every data which is an unlocked skill. Okay, so fairly easy. Now, first thing we want to do is that we want to loop through the data folder we have right here. So script, let me take this reference right here. Yeah, children, do. Now, we are basically getting everything which is inside of this data folder. And this means that we do not only get the skill points, but we also get this unlocked skills folder. And to make sure that we do not accidentally save a folder inside of here, because that's not what we want to do, because this folder is being created. Doesn't matter if you have any data or not, okay? So this folder is only there to hold the unlocked skills inside of there, which we want to save inside of this table, okay? And in this one, we only want to save the skill points yet, because we do not have anything else besides the skill points yet. So we could, of course, create level value, an EXP value, cash value, stand value, whatsoever. And if we would have had these, then we would save them inside of this one. But since we only have the skill points right now, we only want to save the skill points right here. So we want to exclude that the thing we are currently at is called unlocked skills, because if that is the case, then we do not want to put it inside of this table. Now, you have to make sure that the name you give to that unlocked skills folder is also inside of here, okay? So that's important. Or we could, to make things more easily for you, we could check whether this thing is not a folder. So if not, B is a folder. So if the thing we're currently at is not a folder, which this obviously is, then we want to continue by saving this thing inside of, you know, this table. There we go. So this is the way on how you want to save, how you want to fill in this first table with all of the information you got. So basically, we have this table, which is going to carry the name of the value as index, and then as value, it is going to carry a table which contains the class name of the value. So basically, whether the value you want to save is an int value, a string value, a number value, or any other types of value, and the value itself. So the value we want to gain access of later on to load this whole thing, okay? But actually, we could get rid of class name. I don't even know why I have edited. So we can get rid of class name, and instead of we can even get rid of this. So we could do it like this. So the index carries the name while the value carries the value of the value. Okay. So now next thing you want to do is that we want to loop through. So we are going to take this and we want to loop through the unlocked skills folder this time. So unlocked skills and get everything inside of there. And we can remove those checks because I don't think that you're going to put a folder inside of your skills folder. So your unlocked skills folder. And we can take the same method right here, but we just have to change the table. And let me actually print out both tables so that you guys get an insight on how these things look like. So how these commands result So I've just quickly put that function inside of there. So let me firstly check if everything works fine right here. So as you can see, we have so everything is created right here. Now when I decide to stop, then you'll see that there are two things which have been printed out. And as you can see, this is how the table looks like. So this right here is the result of this. So the index, which is this thing, so which is this spot right here, carries the name of the value you want to save, while the value itself right here is this one, which is currently 0 because we did not change the value or anything. Now if we take a look at this, okay, yeah, this is the exact same thing because we have called the function twice. I'm gonna show you later on how to actually make one only in Studio and the other one in Roblox games only. And this empty table right here is this one, since we do not have any skills unlocked yet, you know. That's the reason why this table is empty, but we're going to take care of this later on. So what we want to do now is that we want to save those values, or save those tables. So we do that by referring to the data so we want to save, and then do set async. That's basically, you know, saves. And the first argument is going to be a key, which is going to be the user ID. So make sure that the key is unique, and the user ID is the best choice in this case. So everything else besides the user ID is dangerous in my opinion. So I don't know in which video I've done it, but I've explained in detail why you should use the user ID as a key and not something else. Although it should be pretty obvious if you have an idea of data stores. Okay. So we are now saving both tables right here to each data store, as I've explained to you earlier. And now we want to make these things only work whether you're in Studio or not. So this one, so player removing, actually worked for me back then when, or did not work for me back then in Studio. I don't know how it is now. Let me actually put this in comments, because I just want to see if play removing it or has become reliable. And it actually did. Well, that's interesting. Play removing got reliable. Interesting. It used to be not reliable back then, at least for me. So then forget about this, because this does the job fine as well. So let's continue right here. So we have now saved everything. Let's load everything. So first of all, create something called pcall. So I'm gonna create a pcall right here. So what this pcall does is that everything inside of here, so every code which you're going to enter, is going to be wrapped inside of it, and this means that every error which happens inside of this code now, which is going to follow, does not break the whole script. So usually when you encounter an error inside of a script, the script pauses automatically, you are getting those error messages, and the script stops working completely. Now, if an error happens inside of a pcall, then the error is isolated. In this context, it means that the script is not breaking, the script just moves on while the error exists. And the interesting thing about this is that you can check the outcome via those two variables right here. So if the code inside of here has run flawless, means no error, so you have achieved a success in this case, then success is going to be true. So you can check whether success, so if success, then your script succeeded, so there was no error. So if not success, or if error M means error message, then you have encountered an error, and then you can just print out the error if you want to. So like this if you want to. So what I'm going to do is that I want to check when so when there was no success, then I want to see why. Therefore I'm gonna this error message, which is then given out if this happens. But besides this, I want to load everything. So how does this work? We have to start separately with each data store. So let's start with the first one. Load ds. ds get async and then the key which you have used down there to save the data store. So the user ID, of course. So if load ds means if there is any data for our ds right here, so this one, then we want to load that data, and we do that by looping through the table which is our load ds. So you have to imagine that the table which we have saved down here is now our load ds when load ds exists. So when data exists, so when there is loaded data, then this loaded data automatically becomes the table which we have saved in the last session. So we want to loop through this table, and you guys have gained an insight on how this table looks like. So this table looks like this. So you have to imagine that this is your index, means I, while this is your v, means the value. Now, if f find first child I, then, so we are basically looking for an instance inside of our folder right here. So our data folder, which has the same name as this index right here. And if this value exists, then we want this value to equal v, which is the value which we have saved. So that's everything for this first data store. Now the second one is a little bit, or could be a little bit more complicated, but it is not, I promise. So we're going to use the exact same method to load. So make sure ds2, and you can actually take this whole thing. And if ds2 exists, then we are going to load this table as well. And the difference right here is that those values are not created right here by default. So I'm going to share one idea with you. So every unlocked skill which is going to be inside of this folder is going to be an int value. So that's going to be the first thing. You might ask, okay, why an int value? You could use any other types of value if you want to as well. You could even use parts if you want to. So we just want to have instances inside of this folder, and the important part of those instances are their names, because their names, they tell you the skill which they represent. And that's the reason why it does not matter whether it is an int value or whatsoever. I just have decided to create int values personally, so that's the reason why they're going to be int values. Okay. So down here we have gained the name of the value, so of the unlocked skill, and the value of the unlocked skill. We could really forget about this one because, as I've told you, the int value is only there because of its name and not because of what value it has. So we just want to loop through this second table and then create an int value for every entry inside of there. So we want to create this int value inside of this unlocked skills folder, which is F2. And then we want to call this int value as our index. So index is the name of the unlocked skill, and we want this int value to have the same name as the unlocked skill which has been saved, okay? And that's it. So that's the way in how you load this whole thing. Now we can test this out by... No, I was just about to enter some random unlocked skills inside of there. How about we actually get this thing right here to work? Because this is now becoming pretty easy since we have those skill points right here. So if those requirements right here are met, then we want to check if... No, we want to refer to this data folder. So data folder, we refer to it by referring to the JavaScript service. And then wait for child, data, find first child, player dot name. So if the data folder exists, then we want to continue by checking whether if data folder, wait for child skill points value is greater or equals the amount of skill points which is required. Now, okay, no, there we go. Okay. So we could do, so this required skill points then. Can be unlocked. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay. As you can see, when I double click on it, it is supposed to unlock it, but it does not because we have 0 skill points by default, while all of these skills require skill points to be unlocked. So we can change this test by actually giving some skill points to ourselves. As you can see, this skill now can be unlocked because our skill points are now greater than 6 or 3 or 10. Okay, as you can see, this is printed out right here. So that's the first requirement. The first requirement is whether our skill points exceed the amount of required skill points, and this reference right here is basically referring to one of these. So you should know it from the past episodes, guys. Now, apart from that, we also want to check whether this skill is not unlocked already, and we can do that by checking whether there is no entry of this skill. So we have to refer to the data folder, and then instead of referring to the skill points, we want to refer to this unlocked skills folder, and we want to check if there is not something inside of there which has the same name as wait, that's actually where things get interesting. Come on. Come on. Make sure to add a not right here. So this reference right here refers to the names of those skills, okay? So we are checking if there is no unlocked skill inside of this unlocked skills folder which has the same name as the skill we are trying to unlock. So it makes sense. So we do not want the skill to be unlocked because otherwise we would unlock it twice and there is no point in doing so. So if those two requirements are met, then we are able to unlock. And how is this unlocking going to work? So it is going to work by, first of all, reducing the skill points, of course. So that's the first thing. So the value of our skill points is our current value of our skill points minus the amount of required skill points. That's basically how this works. The second thing which we want to do is that we want to enter, we want to create an entry for this unlocked skill right here. So int value inside of this unlocked skills folder. And we want to call this skill, or we want to give the name as it is inside of here. So either one of those. So that's the way to do it. Next thing we want to do is that we want to change the brick color of the skills block. So v.parent brick color new. Now we have to find a good brick color. Let's use bright green. I think that this should do. And we're actually almost done with the skill tree system, because after that, we only want to create some kind of load system so that the skill tree right here is being loaded. That's it after that. So as you can see, 6 skill points. So it did not really save, I think. Yeah, there you go. So we have just unlocked this one. As you can see, We have just acquired another skill. Now, same goes for this. Same goes for this. And as you can see, we have now 3 new skills, while our skill points have changed. Now, the only question I have is, why does it look so weird? So, okay, let's use lime green then. Okay, yeah, lime green seems to be interesting. So lime green as color. One more thing I would like to do right here is that I would like to print out the data which we are loading, because as you can see, the save right here is fine. Might be that there are issues with loading the data. Skill points. Wait, how is this possible? Wait, line 20. Okay, and this is line 30. So it did not really save then, and that's a problem. So why did it not save? There is like no reason for it to not work. Yeah, that's interesting. Let me just increase my skill points again. Okay. So we are able to unlock those skills now. The only problem is with loading all of them. Let's play again. And I do not think that this has worked now. Okay, it did not work. So, and let me actually add bind to close. I think that this could help. So game, bind to close function. If game get service run service is studio, then we want to continue. For I player in pairs, game, come on, game, players, get children. Yo, how can this thing be so messed up? So I've just created the idea I was talking about. So this one now only works in the actual game itself, while this one works in Studio. So how does this work? We have this check right here, and this checks whether the session currently is in Studio or not. In this case, if the current session is not in Studio, then it wants to do this. If the current session is in Studio, then this is going to happen. So we are basically looping through the player list, and we are applying the save function on every player before the server closes. Okay. Let's see if this has done anything. Because, you know, so the saving feature is very important, otherwise we are not able to continue. Okay. So play. It did work. As you can see, bind to close works. I don't know why player removing does not work, but bind to close works. So, as you can see, I'm not able to unlock it again because they are already unlocked. So, what we want to do now is that we want this skill tree to understand that when there are skills which are unlocked, that it is supposed to change the color. That is the next thing which we want to do. Okay, wait. So this one is actually interesting, or this whole skill tree is interesting, but I'm going to explain you why later on. Wait, so I'm trying out something. Wait. So this is where things become very, very interesting. Look, so the problem I'm currently having, actually, I want to keep this problem for the next episode, because when we get rid of this problem, then we actually, or then we are basically completing this whole skill tree and the series at the end. So let me briefly explain the problem, and then I'm gonna end the video, and then we are going to take care of this problem in the next episode. So the problem is that as we play now, we are currently alone in the game, okay? So we are able to access the skill tree whatsoever. We are able to change the color if we want to. Okay, we are currently not, because they already have been unlocked and we are unable to unlock them. But let's pretend that all of them are green currently, okay? Now, what happens when another player joins into the game? So what happens then? The player is going to click on the same button right here. The player is going to have the same vision as us. And the player is going to be able to scroll through like this, which is fine, okay? Because the player has its own perspective and we do as well. But that only when it comes to the camera and the GUI. But what happens when all of them are green? Because we have unlocked them, but the player, let's pretend that the player is a noob, and the player did not unlock any of these, but the thing is still green for the player, although the player has not unlocked them. So do you know what I'm trying to point out? So the problem is that those skills right here and the visualization of those, they apply on everyone who's using this skill sheet right here. So how do we get rid of this problem? So what we have to do is that we have to make this process right here, so this process of visualization, client-sided, and this works by adding a local script somewhere inside of here. So we can even use this one, and we can fire client later on to this one and tell it to turn one certain brick to lime green. Okay, and since this is done via local script, it only is visible to the user who is currently editing the skill tree, but not visible to other users. Okay, and we also have to load the skills we have already unlocked because they are green, so we have to load them on the client as well. Okay, so those are the two main things which we have to take care of. And there is even a third thing which we have to take care of, and then we can really consider the series as done. And this one is that there has to be well, how do you call it? Wait. Yeah, there has to be an order, okay? So you shouldn't be able to unlock the time stop before you have unlocked the knife throw, and you shouldn't be unable to unlock the knife throw before you have unlocked the stand barrage, okay? But in the current version of the skill tree, you're able to do that. So you can unlock the time stop before you unlock the stand barrage. And that's a problem as well. And those are the three main things which we still need to take care of. And I hope that I'm able to finish it in the next episode. And if that is the case, then I might be creating one more skill tree just to show you how you can do this. So just to present another example besides 3 skills right here. And after that, we are pretty much done with the skill tree. I can still think of some minor features which we could add as some bonus episodes, but the majority of the skill tree is then done. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, share this video to all of your friends. Leave me feedback in the comment section, guys. Take care and see you in the next video.